Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, and the other day, I showed you how Surfing Pikachu, the VMAX from Celebrations, the one was supposed to be a celebration card, and literally and figuratively. It was supposed to be a card that was there to harken back to the old promos and was really cool and made us go, hey, I remember that old promo, that was kind of cool. Let's face it, they did the same thing in Evolutions. And yet, recently, because of the way everything's gone in the format, it turns out that Surfing Pikachu VMAX is really rather good. The very short version, and I encourage you to watch the video linked in the description, but the very short version of it is that it is a lightning type Pokemon that attacks for water type energy, so you can have a counter to Palkia. And again, that is a super short version. Go check out the full video where I explain it in way more detail. But what about poor Flying Pikachu? Well, the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to tell you that actually, turns out Flying Pikachu's actually really good as well, and that has just become a properly good card. Let's have a gander, shall we? Now, in terms of Flying Pikachu V, it's interesting, annoying, flippy, and ultimately disappointing. Sorry. Single energy, 20 damage, paralysis on a coin flip is fine, but I think it's safe to say it's not exactly a groundbreaking attack. Fine in an emergency. 3 colorless energy, 120 flip a coin. If tails, you do nothing. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. So you can be literally completely immune to anything, that is all damage and all effects, but you gotta flip a coin. And if heads, brilliant, but if tails, it does nothing. It's not reliable. It's a fun card, but it's not one on which we can rely. But Flying Pikachu VMAX, that is one we can absolutely get behind. You see, for 1 Lightning, 2 colorless energy, and just to be clear, it is really important it's 1 Lightning, 2 colorless. It means you don't have to be mucking around with a Lightning type deck. You can just have the odd Lightning energy here or there. You're going to be accelerating energy with Arceus like you do with almost any other deck. Well, any other V deck anyway. Or in a million other different ways. The point is, the fact that you only need the 1 Lightning energy makes it a very techable card. If it was 3 Lightning energy, that's a whole different situation. But it isn't, so it's not. And what you do is 160 damage, but during your opponent's next turn, you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. So the deal is really simple. If you get Flying Pikachu VMAX out against a deck that doesn't have a good evolved Pokemon, you win. Now you have to be really careful playing this though, because gusting still exists. So all your opponent needs to do is grab something like a Boss's Orders, and then they can grab up your bench Pokemon and just go after them instead. So you need to engineer this in such a way as you basically end up with Flying Pikachu VMAX, and nothing your opponent can really gust around. Maybe they're out of gusting cards. You know, what you don't want to do is have 2 Arceus sitting on the bench with 4 prize cards remaining, because your opponent can just go after the Arceus, which is a little bit awkward. And as always, Flying Pikachu can be gusted up and KO'd before it gets rolling. These are all relevant things. But the question becomes, are there any decks out there where this is actually a silver bullet answer? And the answer is yes. One that has been really good but is starting to wane significantly in popularity, Suicune. Suicune is a basic Pokemon that attacks as a basic Pokemon with Blizzard Rondo, and it does 20 more for each bench Pokemon, yours and your opponent's, 20 base, draws if it's in the active, and it even actually works with Ludicolo, so kind of the whole point of this is being a basic Pokemon, because if you were an evolved Pokemon, Ludicolo wouldn't work. Yes, you can attack with Ludicolo, but 2 energy, 120 on a Pokemon that's getting 1 hit KO'd by Flying Pikachu, let's just say it's not something we're terribly concerned about. Okay, cool, that sounds good. The thing is, Suicune was really good, but it's been largely replaced by Palkia. So what we need to do is we need to go over to Pokestats, and if you're looking for, well, Pokemon stats, Pokestats are both very well named and also really, really good. Now let's be clear. We are not in a format at the moment where we are really looking at, you know, a real basic heavy format. If we look at the top 8 from Milan this past weekend, and this is from Pokestats, what do we see? 8 evolution decks. 3 Mew VMAX, 3 Arceus, one of which plays Malamar VMAX, 1 Rapid Strike Urshifu, 1 Whimsicott V-Star. It is all evolution decks. We are in a format at the moment where we are largely in evolution decks. And I've told you that Palkia is a big deck coming out from Astral Radiance, so that's kind of relevant. So we need to be a little bit careful. But there are some relevant decks out there, ladies and gentlemen. There are absolutely some relevant decks out there, like Regigigas. Now, this is one of the biggest surprises to me, and I thought I'd gotten away with it. This was a deck I've been planning behind the scenes for a little while, a little bit of a pet project of mine. It actually did really well at the last Champions League over in Japan, and I didn't see anybody talking about it because it did really well in seniors and it started really well in masters, but then it dropped off. And a lot of people seem to be missing it. And unfortunately then, well, for me anyway, Astral Radiance came out, and all of a sudden, yeah, that's not the case anymore. Nobody is sleeping on it as it stands at the moment. That's a little bit sad. But this is a deck, maybe the only really relevant deck around at the moment, that is really, really hyper heavy on basic Pokemon. And when I say really, really hyper heavy on basic Pokemon, I mean you're only playing basic Pokemon. You're not really playing anything else. It is a Reggie deck, and it kind of has to be a Reggie deck. Because if we go to Regigigas, that is really the engine for the deck, the thing that makes it work, it's got a phenomenal ability that forces you to go full Reggie. Once during your turn, if you've got Regirock, Regice, Registeel, Regieleki, and Regidrago in play, and that will take up your full 6 spots on the field, you may attach up to 3 energy cards from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. So yeah, you've got to go full Reggie. The thing is, Regigigas, good attacker against VMAXs, basic Pokemon. So you're not going to be doing very much with Regigigas against this deck. And okay, fine, there is a Regirock, and yes, Regirock will hit you for weakness, and that is absolutely something you've got to bear in mind and something you've got to try and navigate. But they won't actually get a one-hit KO on the VMAX. They will get a one-hit KO on the V, that's really important. And with a Choice Belt, they will get a one-hit KO on the VMAX. That's also really important. So there is a little bit of a back and forth. It's not an auto win against Reggies. Basically, if you come up against Surfing Pikachu VMAX as the Reggie player, you have to gust and KO the Surfing Pikachu before it attacks. If Surfing Pikachu VMAX attacks before you've had a chance to KO it, you are basically spending the rest of the game only going after the bench, and Surfing Pikachu VMAX will get a one-hit KO on every one of your Pokemon. That's bad. The good news is, if you are going after the bench, Regieleki does have targeted Bolt. Discard 2 Lightning Energy and deal 120 to one of your opponent's bench. The energy's not a huge deal, remember, because you can Regigigas Ancient Wisdom every turn, and it is from your discard pile, so you're not really running out of energy here, which is lovely. But honestly, if you're against Flying Pikachu, and Flying Pikachu is able to control their bench, and they're able to attack before you've KO'd it, you're done. Unfortunately. There are kind of fun things you can do. You can, combine Gusting with, for instance, an Escape Rope. That will actually work, because Escape Rope puts them to the bench, and then you can Gust them active, and then they're no longer the same Pokemon. So you can actually get around it that way. And I don't know, maybe Reggie decks are going to start playing that. But that's the kind of level we're talking about here. We are talking about that kind of level in order to get around it, and I think we can all agree at this stage it's a lot to ask. The thing is, where we are in the format at the moment, you're not going to be playing a 3-3-4-4 line of Flying Pikachu. You're going to be playing a 1-1 line, maybe a 2-1 line in an Arceus deck anyway, to give you kind of a silver bullet answer to Regigigas. And I need to give a shout out to Frank Bebe over on Twitter, who did send me a little tweet there this morning as I record. Just played an 84-person online tournament, went 4-2 with Regigigas. One of the losses, Flying Pikachu. Nothing you can do. It is worth pointing out, though, that there was an Ice Cube in Evolving Skies that for free energy did 70 damage and prevented all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. I don't know if this is going to be easier to use. I mean, if you look at a Palkia deck, for instance, yes. Because what you can do in a Palkia deck so beautifully is bench this as a basic Pokemon, Star Portal free energy on, and then immediately just start attacking with Ice Cube out of nowhere. That is actually really, really nice. There's other ways to get the energy, but I think Star Portal onto Ice Cube is probably the easiest way you're going to see it. And maybe Ice Cube is better than Flying Pikachu. The point is, we've had another one of these cards, which was supposed to be kind of, hey, it's a nice little throwback, it's not particularly competitive, but look how cool it is. And now all of a sudden, because Regigigas is coming out as an actual, genuine, legitimate threat, that means that we need to start taking this a little bit seriously, and I find this adorable. If Regigigas drops off the face of the earth, no, this isn't going to be relevant. Although, if it is, this is a genuinely really good card. And if more basic Pokemon end up coming out and being good in the future, this is gonna be really, really good as well. For now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this, and I want to know if you think Flying Pikachu is here to stay, if Regigigas is here to stay, and anything else you want to tell me. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.